Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be discussing the controversy around the jewelry brand Jewellery and the quality of products that they have been selling. Okay, so basically this video is about a brand that has been allegedly scamming people into buying subpar quality products, or at least products that were not what was advertised, which is illegal, I'm pretty sure. And all of this basically came to light when an influencer had decided to make a video about the brand, and the brand had contacted her to tell her not to make videos about them. Obviously that's weird. Any brand would be happy to get, positive feedback about the products that they are selling. So she goes on, she gets the pieces tested, and let's explore what this creator basically said about the situation.
Company is allegedly selling fake gold to jewelry TikTokers. Let me tell you the rundown. Basically on TikTok, everyone recommends other jewelry stores, and this was selling solid gold jewelry near spot price. Therefore, a lot of TikTokers were making videos about how you should buy solid gold jewelry from them. This one lady, Jacqueline, I'll show you her video next. She got an email from this company to stop advertising them on TikTok. The smart woman that she is, of course, it had alarm bells written all over it. Therefore, she decided to take the chain to a jeweler to see if it's real gold. And guess what? Let me show you the results from 3 different users.
We come to find out the piece is not 14 karat gold.
So I took it to the pawn shop yesterday, and it did come back that it is plated.
Mine, it's gold field also.
And look, they're not accepting new orders because of this drama. But here's the telltale sign that I would say is a red flag. New pieces from a reputable company would never be near spot price. First and foremost, they have to make money. Capitalism, babes. Because even myself, when I look at wholesale prices for new chains, they're about 20 to 30% over spot wholesale. It could be lower, but that's usually the price. Therefore, how are they selling it lower than wholesale? Yes, they could be direct to consumer, but they still need to make money. There's labor costs, there's other costs associated with selling jewelry. You cannot get jewelry near spot price. They're new. But if you're looking for deals, you can definitely get jewelry near spot price when you shop estate or pre-loved jewelry. But always question yourself, why is the price so good? I hope that everyone gets their money back. If you bought it recently, charge back, charge back, charge back. I am feeling so sorry for anyone that fell for this. And I tried to do some due diligence of how they could have prevented from falling into this alleged scam, because they had a legit website that didn't show any red flags. They took credit card. They had it all over their website. They're an American company, and everyone just believed that it was 14K. And to be honest, any one of us can have fallen to this mess.
So obviously in the video you could see that a lot of people in the whistleblower's video saw that the brand was behaving very strangely, and because of that she had decided to get her piece tested. And obviously a lot of other people had started to get their pieces tested, and the same thing kept happening to them. So it wasn't just like a once-off mistake type of situation, and that increased scrutiny towards the brand caused them to stop accepting new orders.
Come with me to see if I also got scammed by Jewellery Jewelers. I bought a bracelet from them like maybe less than a year ago, and as I'm sure you've seen, they've been lying about their product. So I'm on my way to my jeweler to see if I too was scammed. Let's go. Here's the bracelet that I have. I mean, it's held up great, honestly. So I was like, there's no way, not me, mine are real. But apparently the plating on it is super thick. So we're gonna go and we're gonna find out. Just got home, surprise, surprise, it's plated. I'm so disgusted. The jeweler was like, this is insane. They probably put a stamp on the clasp so nobody thinks to look at the beads. And he was like, that is absolutely wild. So he took pictures of it for me and explained the report. This is what printed out. And he explained what it would look like if it wasn't plated, and why all the numbers are showing that. It's mostly copper. Love that for me. If you're not familiar with what's going on, the lovely Jacqueline posted a glowing review of one of their necklaces, and they emailed her and they were like, LOL, thank you so much, but can you take that video down immediately? And we also won't give you any more products unless you take it down. And she was like, what is going on? Like, that's so sus. Why would a company not want a glowing review out there? So they shot themselves in the foot on that one, dum-dums, and she started the investigation into this, and she had her necklace tested and it came back as plated. So a lot of people have purchased from them because the pricing was great, and we've all now gone and had our shit tested. So I will be contacting them and getting a refund right quick, and I just am baffled. Like, this is so disgusting. Stay tuned. I'm a little anxious about like getting a refund. Some people have been asked to send their products back, some people have not. I will not be sending my product back because I don't trust them, and also could be used in an evidentiary way. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully I get my monies back.
So in this video, we basically have a customer of Jewellery who had decided to get her piece laser tested, and laser testing basically tells you the composition of the metals that are within the entire piece by using a spectrometer, which basically, catches the light that bounces off of the material, and depending on the frequency of the light that is reflected off of the piece, you can tell what type of metal that is in the piece. So by looking at the composition of the metal itself, it has a significant amount of gold, which is a bit better, because then you know that the piece isn't plated, which would have been a bigger rip-off than what the piece actually was. And it also shows a lot of copper and zinc. And I think that the base metal inside the piece itself is brass, and I think they chose that type of base metal because brass obviously looks very close to gold, so you wouldn't be able to tell that the piece itself was actually gold filled and not solid gold to the core. So the proportion of gold within the piece itself suggests that it is gold filled and not plated. And plating basically means there is like nanometers of layers of gold on the actual piece. So I don't think you would actually be able to get that much, weight of it on the actual piece. So it shows that it is gold filled. And that sounds like a good thing, but it's actually a bit deceptive, because I believe the reason that they did that is so that when a piece has been worn for a long time, the amount of wear and tear it takes for a gold-filled piece to, finish the top layer of gold takes a lot longer than plating itself. So they probably did that not for the benefit of the customer itself, but in order to get away with the scam for as long as possible. And in regards to the clasp, the reason the clasp was probably stamped is because they bought a standard clasp. So standard practice within the jewelry industry is that the clasp and the piece itself have to be matching. So the customer can just assume that the stamp is what the piece actually is, which is the proper way to do it. But these people were obviously advertising that these pieces were solid gold. So that is very, scammery.
I went to the jewelers just to make sure about the Bocelli bracelet, the beaded bracelet, this one. I realized I did the acid test here at home. I scratched it really good, and for me it came out as 14 karat gold, no problem. But since I got so many comments from my friends that they took theirs to the jewelers, and the gold is so thick, but still theirs where I'm mixing my words, but the bracelets were gold filled. So I went to the jewelers, and guess what? You already know. Yes, mine it's gold filled also. What he told me is he showed me how to make how to do the acid test in another way they do in the jewelry stores here in Puerto Rico. They don't like use that I don't know how it's called, the gun. and they don't use it much here. They use the acid test. They say it's more reliable anyways, but what they do is they let me take it off. Okay, I took it off. What he told me is they don't scratch like this, like they do, I've seen in the other videos, and that's how I did it, but they don't do it like that. They just like bend the bead a little bit and they scratch like the inside of the bead, and that way you make sure if the inside of the bead it's gold or not. If the piece is solid gold, the inside it's supposed to be solid gold, but it is not. So I just private the last video I made about me making the test, because it was not it is how you're supposed to do it, but not with this kind of pieces. So I'm the third, I think, on the list with the Goldfield scam, but it is Goldfield. So I already contacted Etsy. I made a claim. If not, I'm just going to contact my credit card. This is not the first time that it happens to me. I got a bracelet before that it was stamped and everything 14 karat gold, and it was not, and my credit card gave me my money back. So if Etsy doesn't do it, I know my credit card it's going to do it, no matter how long I got it before. So test everything. Anyway, before this happening, I went a few months, I think it was in December, and I took my whole jewelry. I took everything, all my bracelets and everything, and tested everything just in case. But I did not test this one, and I was wearing it, so I didn't think of testing it. So test everything.
Okay, and this part is a bit more technical. This customer actually got her piece acid tested, or she acid tested it at home, and she said that the piece itself came out as 14 karat gold. And that actually makes a lot of sense, because obviously with a gold filled piece, the layer on the outside is actually gold. Where I used to work, when we would have pieces come in so that customers could sell them for the cash, we would actually file like the 2 points of contact for the testing machine, because we would use a machine, but this machine also just tested the surface of it. So we would file down the 2 points of contact for the machine, because the machine only tests the surface. So that's why that piece came out saying 14 karat gold, even though it wasn't completely solid gold, because acid testing only tests the surface. And that is why the jeweler basically told her, no, next time you test something like this, turn it to the side. And I think the reason that they did that is because in the manufacturing process of gold filled pieces, they'll obviously cut at some certain point, and that area where it's cut, they're not going to, replate the surface or add another piece of metal on the side, because it's brass, it looks close enough, and obviously they're not expecting people to be deceptive, so they probably did that just so they could have the part that was the base metal exposed, which is obviously the side, so that they could actually tell whether or not it was solid gold all the way to the core, which obviously it wasn't.
Charlie update while I package some Etsy orders. So the company is still full ghost mode, have not answered any emails from anyone, at least not that I'm aware of, over the last few days. No more refunds or anything like that. So I contacted my bank and I was like, this is the deal. So they usually only will do like chargebacks if it's within 90 days, and I bought mine in March. But I explained the situation. They're like, oh yeah, so we can file a claim under fraudulent activity, counterfeit goods, the drama. So I had to submit like all of the documentation for my jeweler showing the report, as well as like they had to write a letter saying like, hey boo, this isn't cute, this is not gold. Documentation from the website showing like that it stated it was 14 karat solid gold. Emails from the company like requesting the item back and then not answering, all that crazy stuff. So stay tuned on that. Also, the amount of people making videos saying this was our fault. Are you well? Is. I'm so surprised by that take. Could you say like maybe too good to be true? Yes, that I can get on board with. But I'm not a jeweler, and I thought that it was because they were hollow, and there's a crazy markup on jewelry, so it was like a good deal. Great, love that for me. And not to mention, this isn't like somebody we bought from on the corner of the street. This appeared to be a reputable company. Like, they had thousands and thousands of positive reviews across their personal website, but also on Etsy, on eBay, on Poshmark. Like, they had thousands and thousands of sales. Plus, I got my piece and I was like, this is cutesy. I wore it 24/7 for months, and there was no indication that it wasn't what I paid for, that it wasn't solid gold. So like, take a beat. The only person to blame for this is the hoe that sold fake jewelry. Okay, so here's hoping I get a refund, and I hope you have a good day.
Okay, so now we have, a previous customer. I think we had seen one of her videos before. We have a customer who was able to get, who was requesting a refund for her piece. Obviously, she was worried, the refund, window had already closed. So she was worried that she wasn't going to get her money back. But because they had advertised that it was solid gold, it was actually fraud what they did. They were selling something that wasn't advertised. And I'm very happy for her, but the thing that irks me about this is that this is very specific to credit cards, and most South Africans do not use credit cards. We do not like credit. We'd rather be broke on our own than to be, balling on somebody else's money. Yeah. So if this was somebody who had used a debit card, specifically in South Africa, it would have been a lot more difficult to get your money back, especially if you bought it online, because these people can just decide to not respond. And I feel like a South African person, a lot of us don't have the time or even the trust in like the processes that we have in place to actually go through all of the work to, get the money back. So that is the one thing that I find very heartbreaking about the situation, because if the average South African had gone through something like this, we probably wouldn't have gotten our money back, and it's a lot of money to buy gold.
Hot take, the number of people falling for the Bocelli scam on TikTok is definitely Jewellery Talk's fault. Let me explain. I know this sounds harsh, but it's the truth. When you talk about this, we're not talking about the average consumer where we tell them you should have known better. No, we're talking about people that are consistently buying online, unboxing frequently, and should have known better. They typically know what the price of gram per gold is a piece like that would cost. And that's why they were excited when they saw the price was super low and they wanted to share it right away. And I get it, it's natural reaction to share the joy. Unfortunately, we were lacking the second part, our due diligence. In all the excitement to share with others, to show others what you're proud of, we forgot to be careful about who we promote. In fact, I was told by other people that they were in comment sections of these people that were doing Jewellery Talk and were more experienced buyers, warning them that it might be fake and to get it checked. And some people were rude, but some people were helpful, and they were immediately shut down. So my point is, yes, they should have known better, the ones that were experienced, because they were the ones sharing. And then what happened was other people saw their video and they started sharing, and it finally got to the point where people that never bought gold started buying it. Now that's a problem. That actually happened to me early in my TikTok Jewellery Talk days. I bought a pair of diamond, little tiny studs, promos to introduce the company, and there were 14 karat gold and natural diamonds. I shared it on TikTok immediately, and I learned a lesson. Not a lot of people knew it was fake. People started buying it. I didn't know it was fake. I got one tiny comment that said, hey, those earrings are fake. And I didn't get defensive. I listened. I'm like, holy crap. I immediately got it tested, and that's when I learned it was fake, and I immediately made a video saying, hey, I was wrong, and deleted the old video and warned everybody. After that, I acted completely different about how I promote businesses. So when I put a trusted business and I promote them, I bought from them, I tested the products, meaning durability wear, I looked at the construction, I looked at the cost, and I gold tested them. Another thing I would add is do not buy bead balls that light. As a person that knows construction and longevity of jewelry, if you buy a ball bead that big looking but weighs barely nothing, the moment a bead dents, that bracelet is useless unless it's a long bracelet and you take that bead away. But most of the times it's perfect fit. But if a bead breaks, it's not repairable. You have to replace it. and that costs a lot of money. So all the savings you probably might have had went out the window. Anyways, I hope Jewelry Talk learns a lesson, and I know this sounds harsh, but it's the truth.
So in this video, we have another content creator who was criticizing Jewellery Talk specifically and the consumer habits that they have. And I agree with a lot of things that she said. Like, influencers should be more skeptical about brands. People should be more skeptical about the people that they are watching and whether or not they are vetted. I think that a lot of influencers, especially when it comes to buying something as expensive as gold, should be more knowledgeable about the testing that they have done and whether or not it cancels out certain things. So if you're an influencer, you should probably say, hey, I bought this piece and it's tested in this way, and that way, and it is cleared for this, it's cleared for that, but not cleared for that. So at least if somebody is willing to take the risk on such a brand, they would know, okay, in order for my peace of mind, I need to do this testing and this testing and this testing so that I can be sure about the pieces that I am buying. And also, people buying off of influencer recommendations, you should be more skeptical. You should check whether or not these people are vetted. In South Africa specifically, I will tell you about ways to make sure that is the case. And you should also be looking at reviews on whether or not these pieces are not even just the material that they say they are, but just good quality. Like, if a piece that is gold specifically is not of good quality, then the piece could break, the piece could fall off and you don't notice, which is very heartbreaking.
Okay, quick Bocelli chit chat. I have noticed people making comments like, oh, Jewelry Talk is to blame. I have noticed people making comments like, oh, they should have known it's a scam because the price was too good to be true. I have noticed people making comments like, oh, people need to vet their sellers before they put them out there. I feel like people are forgetting that the whole reason why we know that this brand is a scam is because I posted that unboxing video. Yeah, if I didn't share that unboxing video, people would have continued supporting this brand. People would have kept buying from this brand without even thinking about it. People have been buying from this brand for years. Look how many sales they have on eBay. They have 2 eBay platforms. Look how many sales they have on their first eBay platform. Look how many sales they have on their second eBay platform. Look how many sales they've had on Etsy. They've scammed thousands of people, and I promise you, a good percentage of those people don't know that they've been scammed. The only reason why everybody now knows Bocelli is a scam is because I posted that unboxing video, posted the email that they sent to me, and went a step further to go test my piece. There are people who bought these pieces in 2023, in 2024, and paid damn near the same price that we paid a month ago, a couple weeks ago. They didn't get a bargain. The price wasn't the best price out there. But guess what? They were still scammed. Remember, this brand wanted me to take down my video? If I literally had taken down my video, guess what would have happened? They would have continued selling to people. Sharing was the solution. Sharing is how we know that this brand was scamming people. Sharing is how this whole thing got uncovered. Let's not forget that. Nobody should be blaming creators for sharing or consumers for purchasing. If you purchase a piece from Tiffany, do you go, let me go test this just in case they sold me a fake? If you purchase a piece from Cartier, do you do that? Do you purchase a piece from even all the other popular brands that you see on social media and go, let me go test it because they might have sold me a fake? If they don't give you any reason to doubt them, you're probably not going to test it. And this brand had endless stacks and stacks and stacks of positive reviews because nobody doubted what they said. I don't think anyone should be blaming consumers for not testing. I don't think anyone should be blaming creators for posting unboxings or posting recommendations. That's not the issue here. The issue here is the brand misrepresenting the item that they're selling to consumers.
And now we have a video of the original whistleblower, the woman who was actually contacted by Bocelli themselves to tell her to stop making these videos. And she had been seeing all of these videos of people telling her that it is the fault of the influencers for people getting scammed. And I can understand those complaints, but what she said is also very important because I feel like influencers nowadays are a part of the accountability ecosystem. Not only are they able to, promote these brands, but they also are able to, expose the frauds just as quickly. And because of negativity bias within humans in general, videos about fraud will probably get more attention than the videos promoting certain brands. And because of this influencer specifically, a lot of people learned the importance of properly testing their jewelry and not just trusting branding, not just trusting, the aesthetic of a website and all of that stuff, but actually going and doing the proper research and doing the proper testing to make sure you're buying what you expect to be receiving. And what can we learn from this entire experience? For South Africans specifically, if you want to make sure that you are buying safely, it would be best practice to buy from companies that are registered with the JCSA, which is the Jewellery Council of South Africa. And those companies have to, go through rigorous testing, and they have to maintain their membership within that council. So if you want to buy from them, not only will you be able to have that peace of mind of knowing that you're buying what you're expecting to buy, but you also know that there is a council that you can go to hold these people accountable. They can't just disappear and pop up somewhere else, at least not with that membership. Also, ensure that the people that you're buying from have a return policy. Buy on credit card if you have one, and buy on credit card after saving for the money. Don't just buy on credit card because you have a credit card. Buy on credit card, pay the credit card off. But if you know that this piece is not what you expected it to be, then you can have more assurance of getting your money back, because the bank is going to want its money back if you didn't get what you were paying for. And just to be super duper safe, I would say buy from people who have physical stores, so that if you have issues or if you bought with a debit card, you have somewhere physical that you can go to and hold these people accountable. Because buying off of websites, it's a lot harder to hold people accountable for stuff like that, especially if they're overseas. But yeah, that's my video for today. Be safe out there, guys. There's a lot of people looking to take money from you. There's a lot of people who are extremely unethical and are willing to scam you for the sake of themselves. These people have been operating for years at that point. So do not go off of social proof to make sure that the people that you're buying from are legit. Do your research. But yeah, bye.